like him against all odds, but he.
You'll be surprised when you see what the actors and actresses from the movie White Chicks look like and what they look like today. Check it out. Terry Crews, who played Latrell.
What would you prefer me to address you as?
She and her as
Oh, okay, that's what would you prefer me to address?
This girl thought she was smart and had outsmarted her trainer, but she didn't expect what happened next.
What I'm going to say is going to upset you. And so I want you to remember that I'm just the messenger. I didn't make these things happen, but I do want to honestly tell you, because we live now in a weird time, weirder and in different ways from what we were used to. This country is in a time of decline. And when an empire declines, which is something we haven't gone through because empires don't decline very often, but let me tell you from the history books, a little bit we can tell, it's not fun to be in a declining empire. Much more fun when the empire is going up, which was the last century or a century and a half of this country, the ride up. We are now on the ride down. We haven't been prepared because we have leaders who cannot say a word about that. I want to just drive that home because the split in this country is really about that. So let me start with the split in the obvious way. And that split is everywhere now. And if you haven't noticed it yet, you will, because it's going to impact your life in all kinds of ways. So one of them is a little bit about what a declining empire means, to give you the context. The United States lost the war in Vietnam. When I say that in my classes, my students look at me. They never heard such a thought. America, as they know from the comic books they read as children, only wins wars. It doesn't lose wars, but we lost. The war was fought against the Communist Party of North Vietnam, which has been running that country since the United States was driven out in 1975. Go check all of this. You will find I'm not making it up. After we lost the war in Vietnam, We went and had a big war in Afghanistan, which we also lost. That war was against the Taliban, which now runs that country. It's a good sign that you lost. We lost the war in Iraq. We are in the process of losing the war in Ukraine. If I were in certain audiences, I wouldn't dare say what I just said. They couldn't hear it. They could not hear it. But it is the reality. Let me give you a couple of more. Just this of what decline means. Last week, something happened on the part of a country called Indonesia. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a remarkable country in Asia made up of 18,000 islands in the Pacific. It's a huge country. The population of Indonesia is 280 million people. Makes it one of the largest countries in the world. Let me remind you, the population of the United States is 330 million. 280 isn't that far less than 330. It's an enormous thing what they did. They joined the BRICS. They joined a full partner of the BRICS. BRICS, by the way, means it's the first letters of the countries Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. A dozen years ago, they began to form an alliance of what came to be called to be independent, relatively, from the domination of the United States. And the core economy, the biggest one, the most powerful, is an upset. The People's Republic of China. Remember, I'm the messenger. I have no responsibility for this. At all. China and the BRICS. Indonesia joined them. Together now, the BRICS, built around China, have as the population of the countries that are part of the BRICS, about 22 countries now altogether. They have about 55 to 60% of the population of the world are members. What is the percentage of the world's population of the United States? 4.5%. You understand? We are 4.5%. They are 50 to 60%. In the words of Mickey Mouse, those odds are not so good, no matter how you cut it. And as a group, let me tell you how you cut it. We in economics have this little game. We ask, what is the total output in goods and services in a year of a country? Gives us a kind of rough idea of how big a country it is. How important its footprint is in the world. Okay, so if you take the BRICS together now, they are about 35%, maybe a bit more, total output of the world. If you add up each of those countries' total output in a year, when you add them up, they account for 36%, more or less, of the world's output. Now let's compare that to the United States and its major allies. Those are called the G7, the group of seven.